Dear listeners of this pod, my friend Cat used they, them pronouns. Please identify them correctly when referring. I know you want to be respectful and you didn't mean to do your airing. All right, and I'm...
Like, damn, you're hot. Wanna make out? Push them boobs up just for yourself. Wear 6-inch heels just for yourself.
If it's just for myself, shouldn't I be comfortable?
No. Put yourself first in a sexy way. Pierce your ears just for yourself. Put a hole in your earlobe just for yourself. Brace yourself. This is gonna hurt. Put yourself first in a sexy way. Put yourself first, don't worry about yourself. Wear fake eyelids just for yourself. So when dudes see you, put yourself first. They'll be like, damn, you're hot. Let's buy a house in Portland. Put yourself first for him. That's what you gotta do. Put yourself first for him.
If I put myself first for him, then by definition, aren't I putting myself second?
Don't think about it too hard, too hard. Don't think about it too hard, too hard. It's a wormhole. It's a Mobius strip. It's snake eats tail. It's the infinity sign. Get a tattoo of the infinity sign on your lower back. Just for yourself.
But I can't see my lower back. Also, can we go back to the fake eyelid? Is that a thing now?
Yes.
I do have one, because for the first time in several years, I just watched a few musical performances from, of course, the American television musical show Glee. And every few years, I go through this cycle and I reach this point where I say, do I want to watch Glee again? Do I want to welcome the Grim Reaper back into my life? And then I almost always make it through like season 1 and I say like, we're good.
I stopped after season 3 of that episode, or after season 3 of that show. I never went further, and except for the episode where they honored Corey, like the quarterback episode.
Sure.
I never watched another episode and didn't regret it.
I did make it through season 2 on the strength of the Warblers alone, essentially. Really, the Warblers carried me on their back through Glee season 2, at which point I jumped off. Except the episode that I have seen after Glee season 2 is, of course, the famous school shooting episode of Glee called Shooting Star. Well, it is handled with the same deft touch, the same loving hands that every Glee issue-based episode handled their material.
You don't even have to say Glee. With the deft touch that Ryan Murphy brings to every single one of his projects.
The handling of such delicate material. Ryan Murphy is like a museum curator who just goes around like smashing faces on the ground.
So we have talked about the Ryan Murphy death cult on this pod. Our dear readers know the lore. In fact, I have so much to say about how Ryan Murphy chooses who he murders of his canon, and how it's not a coincidence that they're all straight people. It's messy.
It's something. Ryan Murphy, he has such a passion for these fragile things, and he keeps dropping them. He keeps
have y'all ever watched Nip Tuck? Right?
A little bit.
Yeah. And I've thought about it to go back to really see where this all started for him, because I'm deep in it now, in that I have conspiracies involving Evan Peters and what his role is, what kind of deal with the devil Darren Criss has written with Ryan Murphy. Like there are some things going on here, but I haven't gone as far back as Nip Tuck, and so that's something that's on my list. Good reminder.
There are 2 early Ryan Murphy shows that people tend to forget or just have never seen because they were so early in just the television auteur that is Ryan Murphy.
Of course.
and it is Popular, which was a CW show.
Looking at on IMDb right now with Leslie Bibb.
Yeah, oh, wow. Yeah. It started out, the first season has the Ryan Murphy touches to it, but it's somewhat normal. And this, sorry, I said CW. It was WB back then.
It was the Dubba Dubba.
But then season 2 is full on Ryan Murphy bat insane levels. And then, yeah, Nip Tuck, which is, again, I mean, insanity.
Wow, they got it to a solid on the nugget 100 episodes of Nip Tuck, and then they called it a day. I've never seen a show land perfectly on the 100 episode mark, and yet Nip Tuck, through sheer force of will, made it work.
Kevin, I don't know how your fancy thing works. Do I have to record on my side, or are we all good now that you're recording?
We are all good. I am recording all 3 of you, or 3 of us. I'm so sorry. And
takes a lot of trust.
Yeah, I trust the machine. I am also recording the Skype call as just a real Hail Mary pass. I'm really putting my fate back in Bill Gates's tender hands.
Can I? Okay, I'm gonna go back to Ryan Murphy now. Can we make sort of like a board, a visual board, but for listeners, just like use your imagination. We're red string yarn. We've done this before, and different plot points. So I think between the 3 of us, maybe we can get some clarity I don't already have. So there's Sarah Paulson, not a straight lady, not a straight woman, is in almost every canon of Ryan Murphy's. Let's start there. Why? What do we think that's about? Why hasn't he murdered her? What has she done to?
Well, now I'm sorry. Why hasn't he murdered one of her characters, or why has he not murdered actress Sarah Paulson?
Actress Sarah Paulson. Why hasn't actress Sarah Paulson fallen victim to some
I think the Holland Taylor connection is maybe too strong. You cannot hurt Holland Taylor that way. Maybe is what I am.
Darren
God.
Where are we with Darren Criss? Why? What did Darren Criss do to continue to be in Ryan Murphy's orbit? Because it went beyond Glee. It went into Versace. Why?
Yes. Well, Ryan Murphy was a real star kid head. Ryan Murphy he loved Harry Potter musical. He thought Harry Potter's sequel was maybe even better because they kind of reformed on the formula. They had a better technical base. That's what I'm assuming with Ryan Murphy.
Billy
I think he just thought that he was gay and still just continues to think he is.
He's waiting for that moment. He's like, come on, Darren,
I think he knows. I think he knows something we don't know. And I think it's significant. Okay, Billy Eichner, not a straight man.
Not a straight man.
Where's that? Because that's in American Horror Story, but it's in other places too, right?
He really enjoyed Billy on the street whenever he ran up and just screamed, name a woman. Yep. Whenever he screamed name a woman and people couldn't.
Name a Woman really is Ryan Murphy's whole creative ethos. It really is a show of name a woman. Boy, I am looking at Ryan Murphy's next project, and I cannot imagine. Guess who?
Evan Peters. Is Evan Peters? Okay.
Evan Peters is in it. And there is God, you cannot imagine who he is playing. A very famous real life person. I'm sitting here and I'm imagining, again, the tender, thoughtful approach that Ryan Murphy is going to bring to Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story.
Oh my God. If I could write what happens next in the canon of Ryan Murphy, I think that's where I would have gone.
This is a confessional tape of his own murders where Evan Peters will play Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay, look, and Evan Peters, here is one of the things with Ryan Murphy, particularly once we get to, American Horror Story becoming popular and everything like that. He gets really talented people. Evan Peters is, in fact, talented.
He has an eye for talent. Sarah Paulson. I mean, the whole company is he rarely has slouches.
Yeah.
You can't have a slouch in a murder cult.
Of course, everyone needs to pull their weight.
Even like for People versus O.J. Simpson, he was like David Schwimmer. You remember how you wanted to be like a dramatic actor and actually got irritated that you just got shoehorned into being Ross? I'm going to give you a chance. Come play Robert Kardashian and just
the only good Cuba Gooding Jr. performance in like 15 years.
I mean,
is on the People versus O.J. Simpson.
Like it's wild. It is
and
wild.
Sterling K. Brown, right?
Sterling K. Brown, Nathan
So
Lane,
good.
like everyone was fucking bringing
John
it on People
Travolta
versus.
is in it, and John Travolta manages to like not be again last 15-20 years. John
if
Travolta.
You can put modern day John Travolta on a television show and not have him destroy the entire show, destroy the alchemy of your show, that is an unequivocated success.
It was solid too. It was like the only other person that could like really kind of get in, like be in that space. Like the obvious choice would be like Alec Baldwin in 30 Rock, and I don't want to cast Alec Baldwin in anyway because also murder. You know, someone's gonna die. Alec Baldwin shows up. But I have wanted to put together. I put together in college. I was taking this public trial, mass media public trial class, and we learned about the OJ trial, and we learned about all of these other famous trials. Charles Hinckley, who is now free and making
John Hinckley coming soon to Brooklyn near us.
John Hinckley, yes. So I casted for my final project. I made American Horror Story casts or American Crime Story casts for all of these different like cases that we had just gone through, and I casted Joaquin Phoenix as Hinckley and Fanning as Jodie Foster, which I thought
that's not bad. That's not bad.
That's my pitch.
I like where your head is at. Let's make it happen. Come on, Ryan. Pull that.
I had one where I was like, I want Jordan Peele to be the director of this Ryan Murphy vehicle, and it would be like all of the. No, you don't want this.
You're really shooting for the stars. I'm just impressed. Like I would never imagine a world where Jordan Peele signs on to direct episodes of a Ryan Murphy joint. I would never picture. I would no.
They do feel somewhat diametrically opposite in regards to like how they're approaching horror.
They are chaos and order. You know what I mean? They are the diametrically opposed forces of the universe.
I think that's exactly why this might happen.
No, I think that's why.
And Jordan Peele did the Twilight Zone, so maybe coming in as the director of an episode of American Horror Story.
I don't know.
Crime Story is what I'm looking at.
You're looking at Crime Story specifically, not American Horror Story.
Yeah, I'm looking at American Crime Story, Jordan Peele, and I think like the Michael Brown case or George Floyd.
Ryan Murphy should never touch the Michael Brown case in any.
He shouldn't.
I don't care who else is involved.
He shouldn't. But he might do it anyway.
No one should tell him
about
Black Lives Matter. No one should tell him about it.
Nobody's telling him no anymore, Kevin.
Oh no. Yeah. I need to intercept Ryan Murphy's mail to make sure he like never hears about certain things, because I can't process what would happen if Ryan Murphy
you saw the school shooting episode. I'm just saying
like Ryan Murphy cannot learn that Roe was overturned. We'll get the worst miniseries of all time. We are going to.
It's happening. I'm sorry.
Oh God, no, please. Just anything. Lord, I haven't asked you for much lately. Please don't let Ryan Murphy make this show. Please. That's all I want. I'll be good.
But you know what show he didn't touch?
Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, because Rachel Bloom and Aline Brosh McKenna like stayed up every night. They took shifts holding a gun outside Crazy Ex-Girlfriend offices, keeping Ryan Murphy away. They kept firing warning shots when he would approach the territory. Absolutely not.
Oh my God, Rebecca is obviously in many ways. I love Rebecca. We're dealing with a lot of deep stuff, right? But like whenever you're just looking at the surface level, there's such unhingedness about it all that like in Ryan Murphy's hands, it's already ridiculous in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, like, but in a way that it's somebody knowing what the bottom line is supposed to be, but like Ryan Murphy getting a hold of an episode would have been.
I just the alchemy. It would have been like when Joss Whedon directed an episode of Glee. You're like, these are grim forces. The Sinister Six are assembling. We cannot allow this to be, right? Because this is, of course, Crazy Ex-Pod Friends, a show where we rewatch and re-examine the greatest American television musical comedy show of all time, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Welcome to your August episode of the show. I am one of your hosts, TV's Kevin Lanigan, and I'm driving the party bus this week. I'm driving some weird horny freaks to the beach. That's me.
I mean, so you're just in the front. You're just listening to the awkwardness.
I do not have a line so that they don't have to pay me extra. Like I am just.
You are a featured. You are a featured extra, so you're going to get a little bump. But yeah, you're not. You don't have a line.
Great point. Did we meet the bus driver? I don't think we
see him. He is because Rebecca says, "Mr. Bus Driver, pull over," and that's when Daryl enters the fray. That's when we get exit or enter from left Daryl.
Do you think that was a PA though that signed a release form? Because I've been in that situation.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt if that was just a Teamster who was already on set. You know what I mean? Like the guy running cable is like, sit down in the thing.
We'll give you a little extra this
we'll give you a little extra. I've done that on many projects.
Yeah.
Kat, do you want to introduce yourself? No?
I had a chip. It was like the one moment I decided to mute and you called on me. I am Kat Scott and I use they them pronouns. And here we are again doing this thing.
And we are joined for the first time by an incredible guest, a wonderful guest. Welcome to the show, Jillian Clayton-Smallwood.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Of course. It was an inevitability, right? I'm working my way through the Venn diagram of community podcasters and people that have seen Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and you're very high on that list.
Very high. That's what, and so as Kevin mentioned, I am one of the community podcasters. So in his former podcast, one of his former podcasting lives, we were all a part of that big community. And so I'm one of the hosts of Welcome to Greendale.
Welcome to Greendale. One of the crop of community podcasts that all popped up in like 2019, 2020. You were one of the progenitors. You were ahead of the game.
We were. It was like 6 seasons in a podcast was kind of out ahead of us, and then I think me and Jen started within a week of each other, like us and Community Rewatch Podcast, and then from there
the floodgates opened because the novel coronavirus reared its ugly head, and a bunch of people were locked down at the same time that Community dropped on Netflix, and we all said, well, "Great time, finally."
Nobody seems to be doing a community podcast.
And then you start yours, and then you look it up, and you're like, "Fuck, shit, oops," because there were at one point like 16, I think, when we took like a census count, and that was just the ones that we knew about.
Yeah. Who knows which ones we never got a hold of out there?
Yeah, absolutely. The ones those lost travelers that we never. There was one from like years previous that ended before like any of us started, but they stopped like in the middle of season 2. So they got out of the game early.
They didn't have the staying power.
Yeah, they did not have the stick-to-itiveness. They could go outside when they were making their podcast. they could go do social activities. We could not. So we finished the show. We're done. Yes. Y'all are almost done. Y'all are cruising.
We are, and since we have been able to do outdoor activities, and Michael has been back in rehearsal for doing 3 plays within 7 months of each other and all that sort of stuff on top of filming, it has become more difficult to film regularly. So there have been a few weeks where we've had to go, just kidding, guys, we didn't actually get to record an episode this week.
LOL. And you know what? That's fine. Nobody's making a living off of it. Everyone will forgive you, and assumedly us as well whenever we whatever we miss, wherever something's late. Listen, it's gonna happen. Just brace yourself now. But you do get episodes one full week early over at patreon.com/TV's Kevin. But we are here we're in the dead middle of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend season 1. This is an 18 episode season, so we are over the halfway point at this point. But Jillian, tell me a little bit about your Crazy Ex-Girlfriend history, your journey with the show.
Okay, so I heard about it while it was on, because it was an awards darling, right? That like it kept getting awards, but I never got around to watching it. And then Michael and I tried to watch it whenever it first came on Netflix, I think. And we stopped during like the middle of the second episode. Purely like the secondhand embarrassment was really hard. Was really hard. And then about 6 months later, we were like, let's try this again. Everybody loves it. Let's try this again. And we did manage to get over that. And I do love it. And then we got into season 2, and then got distracted. So I've only seen through like half of season 2, and then I'm going to come back and watch some more. It's one of those things where like, I will finish this show eventually.
One day.
Because I think that it is great, but I just also, other things end up taking my attention span away, and I'm like, oh, look, a fly, or the grate, or something, like something happens, and I'm like, oh. So that is kind of my history with it, and I hadn't rewatched any of the episodes. And so whenever you asked me to be on, I was like, yes. And also, that means I'm going to binge watch the first half of season 1 again.
Perfect. Tried to give you a little runway, so you had time to catch up.
I had time. I was a bit more prepared, and like watching it through, already knowing what happens in the episodes made it a bit less where I was like holding my pillow in front of my face, because that has happened where I'm just like screaming at the TV and just like holding a pillow in front of my face.
Absolutely. We are full in at this point, especially with these 2 episodes back to back. We are really in the point where like being embarrassed and, and like frightened for Rebecca based on the choices that she is making is the name of the game at this point in the show. Next episode especially is going to be ferociously rough. I remember it giving me like a stomach ache the first time I watched it, but we're not there yet. Because we have to talk about season 1, episode 9, I'm Going to the Beach with Josh and His Friends, directed by Kenny Ortega, who you might remember from directing all of the High School Musical films. Written by Dan Greger and Doug Mand. Dan Greger, you might remember as the writer of the recent, what are their names? Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie, and also from Being Married to Rachel Bloom. In this episode, Rebecca somehow gets herself an invite with the beach crew and decides to make a whole mess of the entire thing. She rents a party bus, and Valencia really keys in on how she is into Josh, and decides to, everyone just decides to make a bit fucking mess of everything. Everyone just decides that they're just gonna be weird and gross, and it's gonna be a wild time in the party bus, which, just from a production standpoint, just imagine filming this episode was a fucking nightmare of like taking down walls and putting up walls of this fake party bus. Really, because they do coverage of the whole thing. It's not like, they cut half of it and it's like a 4-camera sitcom or whatever. It's like really like, oof, I'm just thinking about it from a from a production standpoint
of it all. Yeah.
All those angles on the pole dancing, and you're like, oh god, like fucking they take out the floor of the van so you can get like the undershot, just yeah.
The way they very conveniently have all of the blinds closed the entire ride.
So you can't see the soundstage. So you cannot see the CBS backlot. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, now that we're talking about it, I'm like, oh, this is the bottle episode. We're filming it. Oh, okay, yeah.
One bus.
Also, when you said
we don't see the beach, weird. They never like go outside to the beach.
Yeah.
Interesting.
We see parking lot to parking lot.
When you said Kenny Ortega, I immediately, my first thought was did he choreograph the pole dancing scene?
I mean, could be. Is Kenny Ortega a lover of true pole? True pole. What is was it Professor Goddess was the name of Rebecca's New York
like
trans pole dancing teacher.
About reclaiming male gaze.
Reclaiming feminist pole dancing. And there's something about the phrase true pole that was like really killing me. It was really fucking getting to me.
Well, it's just kind of like that super cringy, like pole dancing is really fun, and respect to everybody who does it, because it is fucking I don't know what the rating is for this. For this
curse
one.
as much as you want. Absolutely.
Great. It's fucking hard. I have tried it before and like hurt my shoulders sincerely in classes and everything. So like respect, and like if you do it as your job, fucking respect. That's great. So that's what like that true pole there, where it's like, well, I'm not trying to do it as a sex worker. I am trying to do it just as like appreciating the art form. And it's like,
it's an ab exercise, and which, is one thing, but there are definitely people out there who like take pole dancing classes and just cannot bear to be compared to a stripper. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, cannot like take it as deeply offensive that you would think of pole dancing in relation to stripping. And it's like, okay, come now,
like,
please.
I am just trying to exercise, and I am never going to do that in front of men that I don't know, because that's gross. Like, or something. Like, it's just no. Everybody
it's
who
giving
respect.
It's giving like the feminist bookstore in Portlandia.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving that energy. The like the lesbians at the who are like just a little off the mark every time, of like, this is actually a little not helping who you want to help.
Yeah.
But I guess I was thinking, like, did the same man who choreographed We're All in This Together also choreograph this pole dancing number? That was, and also the man that choreographed I Don't Dance, and then also choreographed this pole dance. Like, I was just like,
he is
I went down a hole.
not credited for choreography on the show. He does not receive a choreography credit here. But you never know, I guess. He was the choreographer on Descendants 2, 1, 2, and 3. He did the tridge. He choreographed the entire trilogy.
I'm
and I say
old. All of these are like from way past my Disney time, you guys. I know their things. I respect them.
I've never seen a lick of any of it. Choreographer on Pretty in Pink, St. Elmo's Fire, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Dirty Dancing. How about those?
I do know those. I know those.
Director, choreographer of Newsies and Hocus Pocus. How about those?
Wait, that's wild. That's wild.
Ju Wong Fu, thanks for everything. Julie Newmar, Kenny Ortega, Xanadu, Kenny Ortega. One episode of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Kenny Ortega. Director of 11 episodes of Gilmore Girls, Kenny Ortega.
I know those too.
Do you think Rachel had a good time in this episode?
I don't know. I'm wondering how this happens.
I think that was a body double, y'all.
You think so? I was looking for it. I was trying to find it.
I was looking for it, and then there were moments where I was like, I don't know how you would get a body double.
I think it's a mixture. I think it's a combination, because there's some where it's definitely her, and there's some where it's like her head is turned away a little bit for this. Like
a lot of the ones where we're going upside down and everything, like we're never seeing her
away
face.
from the camera.
Yep.
Interesting how that worked out. Weird choreography, Kenny. I know you didn't choreograph it, but I'm giving you credit anyway. Interesting how that worked.
But also, since we are talking about, I know we aren't going, like, I don't know if you go in order on this, but since we're already talking about the poll, I do need to say that everybody had the wrong reaction.
You think everyone should have stood and
I think everybody else had a wrong reaction. They were acting like it's weird. There's a party bus. Now we can talk about it being weird that there's a party bus. Sure. But you are on a party bus. Let's accept that you're on a party bus. So her throwing on and dancing on a pole and y'all acting like dancing on a pole is gross and weird. Nope, you're wrong.
No. Yeah, interrogate the party bus. Don't interrogate the pole in the party bus. Absolutely.
No, let's tear apart the structures, not the individual actions within the structures. Because
you're all already on the party bus. You have already karaoke'd on the party bus. Like, accept the poll. Like, don't act like. And Valencia having an issue, okay, but like Greg and Heather and White Josh and Daryl, like, yeah, man, just go with it. You applaud because that was really good.
Yeah, you're on the party bus, you know? It's like get into the party bus state of mind, get into the party bus spirit. You know, if we're all going to be here drinking craft beer, then like, and someone gets on the stripper pole that is installed on the party bus. I mean, that's what it's there for.
That is what it's there for. It's weird not to acknowledge it. It's weird not to interact with it. At least like one of the dudes would have had to be like, ho, 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 ho. Like somebody had to interact with the pole. So why not an amazing choreographed number?
Yeah. Like she rocked it. She rocked it. That's what you should be saying if you aren't Valencia.
Yeah, I will never forget it. It has been burned into my mind since watching that scene. Whenever I think of her, I think of that pole dancing, and then I go from there.
That is the first thing I think of when I think of Rachel Bloom.
It's true.
Wow. That's it.
And I listened to her whole audiobook last weekend, so.
But it cannot overpower the poll. True poll cuts through any audiobook.
True
poll.
Aligned poll.
Cuts through any audiobook. Loving it. I love
audio.
I love technical difficulties. I love technical difficulties. Show me technical difficulties. Show me technical difficulties. I like when stuff goes wrong. I like when stuff goes wrong. That's why I sing this song. That's why I sing this song. I love to troubleshoot. I love to troubleshoot. And I don't know. And I don't know. Warning, cast hasn't seen Sort of Heather in over 10 seconds, so we've had to presume that they've disconnected. This could indicate a problem with the internet connection or yours.
Well, you weren't reading her before that, Cast,
so I don't want to hear this feedback. Okay.
Let me click on your little link.
Click on the little link, because it seems like you've disconnected from space and time.
Yeah.
It seems like you disconnected from the material plane.
Yeah, I'm a guest, but I'm in an unnamed session without any friends.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you really goofed the cast there. Okay, so it sent you to let me try pasting the link again, because it sure is working for me. I sure am in this session. And so is my friend Jillian.
I have friends. I definitely have friends.
Friendly friends. Time to meet the friends. And then she does the slow one.
No, I'm guest 91, and I'm in a room with no one. Should I record it on Audacity, or are you just going to use Skype?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah, can you start recording yourself locally then?
Yeah.
In the future, just don't mute yourself on this website. It doesn't seem to like it very much. It gets a little temperamental. It's sick of your shit. What?
Yeah, I just thought it would be better to mute it when there was things happening behind me for your sake.
It's 3 separate tracks. I can just cut that out. I love a triple track record, and I love that it's not letting you back into the room.
Me too.
Cast is making executive decisions that I did not approve.
It's got choices.
Cast is curating like the guest list at my wedding, and I'm like, I want to invite who I want to invite. You don't get to tell me who comes to my wedding.
It's being your mother who's like this.
It's being my mother, and it's like you got to invite your cousins you haven't seen in 14 years. And I'm like, I absolutely do not.
They invited you to their wedding.
Great, I didn't go.
I didn't cost them money. What if they decide that I live in a better location to visit?
That's right. If you want me to go to your wedding, maybe call me up for coffee every so often. That's all I'm saying.
I hacked the mainframe and back.
Back in the Matrix. Or out of the Matrix. You're somewhere in the Matrix that you weren't before. Perfect. We're back. What were we talking about? Let's see. So this is the beginning. One of my favorite things on the show. One of my favorite elements that will run throughout basically the rest of the show. Those are my friends Daryl and White Josh. My OTP, my beautiful boys. I love them. I think they are a couple of real sweeties. I love how different they are, but they complement each other in interesting ways, and I think they're beautiful. And this is the blossom. This is this beautiful thing.
they connect in such a like beautiful and natural manner whenever like he just gets on. He's like, I recognize you from the gym, and just having a gym conversation, talking about the things. And like White Josh, instead of trying to act like it's weird that this dude who's in his 40s is like trying to relate to him, is just like, yeah. Or maybe Daryl might be in his 30s and possibly just like looking
the
a bit older,
real
but
tail end of those 30s. He's at the end of a long night of the 30s.
Look, some people you never quite know. Some people in
That's
their 30s still look in their 20s, and sometimes you're like, wait a second. But I probably this dude who's probably in his 40s, and just like he just accepts it because White Josh is a precious angel baby.
He's my precious little child. He's my buff little baby. And I love them together. I think they're really sweet and complimentary. He's very natural. And after he had spent so long, like talking to Rebecca, and Rebecca was not interested. And then he like meets this person who like is interested in what he has to say and like wants to hear from him. I mean, that's just beautiful. That's just so nice. It's just so nice to me. I love it. We also have Greg and Heather, who I have no strong feelings about together.
I like them, but I think it's because I individually like both of the characters.
Sure.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I feel too, I think. And so therefore I'm like, you're probably going to be funny together. But how are you going to connect? I don't know.
They both hate a lot of stuff, and that's powerful. If you hate the same things, that's the true sign of a couple.
It just doesn't seem like the most sustainable of relationship foundations there is
No? I built this building on top of a very solid swamp and it's sinking? What are you talking about? Is it working? It's not a solid foundation here? Okay. Okay.
But
I wanna cup White Josh's face. Like for the readers at home, it's sort of like a U shape. It's sort of like prayer hands, but then make your prayer hands turn into a U, and then put White Josh's chin inside of it.
Like this? Like I'm sort of doing here? Okay.
I want to
But
do
if she was doing that, like as if somebody else was doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, perfect. You got to do it to yourself. Yeah, you got to give them one of these.
Yeah.
That sounds, yeah. I want to do the same thing. And, there's a lot of, Kat, when you watched these episodes a few weeks ago, you texted me about something, and I think it's something that would be worth diving into at this point. Lot of talk about weight and bodies on this show, but in this episode specifically. And I believe you asked me if Rachel Bloom had an eating disorder. Was the phrasing of the text message. I don't know if we want to. I mean, I'm not here to diagnose anybody, but this is a real Liz Lemon kind of situation, if everyone can follow me down that track of like how many episodes of 30 Rock do they spend just like calling Tina Fey, who I'll remind you looks like Tina Fey, just like the most unappealing woman in the entire world. How much time they spend like, ugh, this slob, this hag. I don't know. Somebody else talk.
I don't know. I also, it's one of those things where sorry, my dog.
Hello. Dog has thoughts on body issues.
Shut up. Baby girl, stop. Stop.
You should not be so hard on themselves.
Okay, let me kick my dog out of the room.
But they should also not shame Valencia for being thin.
Okay, girl. You are exiled until you can be quiet.
Exile. I banish you. Welcome back.
Sorry about that. She's old and normally doesn't make much sense. No, if you come back in here, you got to be quiet. That's right. Come over here.
Dog understands the deal.
She does. It's one of those things where even though this wasn't made that long ago, it's one of those things I do think like the cultural shift has been bigger than what we realize. And that comes up whenever we watch episodes or shows like this.
Even just 6 years ago, it does feel antiquated. It does feel like a very old-fashioned sort of thing of the past here.
Yeah, like I don't know if Rachel Bloom herself would write this sort of thing now, but it definitely resonates as like the kind of just random comments and stuff that would get made, particularly when you're doing this thing of having Valencia as the foil to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they do a lot of. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to phrase this in the correct way, but there's a lot of appraisal of Valencia's body from everyone, both from the characters on the show and the camera. And like in this episode, they literally have her like strip off, a piece of clothing, and she's in a very revealing outfit for basically the entire length of the episode. When she's introduced, like the first appearance of Valencia is in a very similar sort of situation. And there's a lot of that in this that also feels kind of grossly outdated, like really shaming someone who is skinny as much as we are shaming someone who is I don't know, like not a size 0, and we shouldn't do either of those things. Like it's just it's a very strange sort of thing, and it's one thing when it's like coming from a particular character, but it does kind of have the lens of like the show saying these things, which I am less in favor of.
Yeah, it feels like with the show, it's just so integrated and comes up so many times. It's like it feels like it's relational to how, at least how Rachel conceptualizes Rebecca. Everything's in relation to like her size. Like her size is just such a factor in a way that like continues to surprise me for some reason. Like it's just so on the forefront of like ways to compare yourself and be competitive with the other woman, and it's specifically weight. When there's a lot of other things to explore, it's interesting that it's consistently that, and it's also just like it's like this default assumption that like you can't win if you're not a 0 is like the like you'll never win because you'll never be a 0
You'll never
is like
desirable to anyone, and
that's like that's the world we're living in, which feels really weird. Like
and
you have to make
Valencia's
up for it
song
despite
is
not being
about
a
that
0.
as well. Yeah, like the song that she sings in this episode is about like this same sort of mentality. Also, surprise Darcy Carden appearance. The Good Place is Darcy Carden in that song.
That's actually my comment about that song. I'm like, Darcy!
Featured extra Darcy Carden, who The Good Place might have been on at this point. Oh, okay. Hold on.
I don't think so. Good Place didn't start until 2017.
Okay,
I think 2016 or 2017.
Look it up, Scotty. Look it up. Sorry, don't wait for me. it's gonna take a second.
I was trying to look because I had looked up earlier to make sure I was gonna say her first name right.
So The Good Place premieres on September 19th, 2016. This episode airs in January of 2016. So The Good Place has not yet debuted, but we are all about to get cardened. We're about to get cardened hard.
And it's one of the juxtaposition and the focus on weight and everything. I think it hits weird, but I do think that it makes sense from both of the characters' perspectives at the time and where they are in life. Because Valencia, right, clearly what she prizes most is like her physique and the work she's put into it and the sacrifice she makes for it, et cetera, et cetera. And it's kind of the only thing she seems to mostly think about. She thinks about other things, but it's one of her primary thoughts and everything. And then, Rebecca, who has all of her mental illness that she is dealing with and working through. And then there's kind of this sort of, I want Josh. Here's the thing with Valencia. I'm smarter than her. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. What I am not is a size 0. And I could see her focusing in on that as like one of the biggest things that if you're qualifying in a competition that she would see as being, well, maybe that's why.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, people think about their own weight all the time. I think about mine too much, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. And I mean, obviously people think about their own weight, but sometimes the show, it does feel like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend has a perspective on it that I am not as interested in.
Jazzed about.
But it is something that gets better as the show goes along. That's kind of a common refrain as we are talking about this first season, where it's like a lot of these perspectives are going to improve. And I don't think I'm spoiling anything when I say that, like, this show is going to do a lot of better work with Valencia as a human being later on over the course of its run. And I think it goes some interesting and fun places with her. And she becomes a little less of a one-note romantic comedy opposition character. The classic romantic comedy opposition character who is so mean. You're like, why is this guy with this person? Like, why? Like, how did they end up together? A classic. I
taught my therapist the term negging this week.
Wow.
Like, I've never heard of that, and I had to sort of like break down. It's like when like in romantic comedies, and the guy is like kind of mean, but like that's to like get the attention of the girl. And so I feel like Valencia is more of a into negging in this world.
Your therapist leans forward and is like, tell me more about negging.
Your therapist very clearly never watched that VH1 show, The Pickup Artist.
The Pickup Artist. Your therapist leans forward and like, and now for your $300 a month, tell me more about negging. What is negging? You're like, who's paying who here, buddy? Buster. Great. Any more thoughts about this episode before we segue on to the next?
One thing that the other part of this episode that really kind of jumped out to me was the Greg and Josh dynamic, in that it is 100% familiar. I don't know if you've known those people who have, not me personally, but if you've known those people that have been friends since like primary school, and it's like, that's my best friend. No matter how much they may have diverged as people, they are still best friends. And I've seen more than one occasion where at least one of those personalities is driving exactly how that friendship should be, and the other person, even though they're being irritated, is still going along with it. It's such a familiar moment that I was like, okay, this is really one of the more believable things of this episode.
Yeah, very accurate portrayal.
It was interesting because it felt like they had to sort of do something that was out of character for both of them in order to achieve this. But I thought that what they were getting to was good. But I thought they kind of had to like change up some stereotypes within both of the characters to achieve it, because Josh usually has to be really laid back and chill. So Josh being a control freak around making plans isn't like particularly on the nose. And then Greg,
but Josh is a control freak about how to be chill. His control freak nature is like, we have to be chill in this specific way.
That's what I mean. And I think this is actually one of the first episodes that we see that. I don't think we really see that until here. And same with Greg. I don't think we see Greg like making independent choices and things until this episode. So like that was kind of built up to. I think with Greg, they kind of like are already building character growth throughout the season. But with Josh, it felt sort of like a wild card. We hadn't seen him be a control freak. We had more seen him be like, oh, I just want to work in this electronics store. Like we've seen him sort of be a pushover up to this point. So I think it was this episode kind of tricked us into being like, oh, he's a control freak sometimes, when we hadn't seen it yet, at least to me.
The growth of Josh's backbone is a steady thread you can kind of follow through this first season, where like Josh is learning to like stand up for himself and what he wants, and it's a fun thread to follow independent of the Rebecca romance storyline. And we see it even more in season 1 episode 10, I'm Back at Camp with Josh, directed by Michael Schultz, written by Jack Dolgan. In this episode, Josh is about to do his annual volunteering at a camp for, I don't know, like wayward youth. It's like, at-risk teens is the terminology. And Rebecca, of course, decides to shove herself into that situation however she can. At the same time, Daryl, desperate to make some friends, decides to have the boys over to watch the fight, and ends up hiring a business that really only could exist in Los Angeles, California, where you hire a bunch of pretty people to come to your party, hire a bunch of out-of-work actors to come to your party and be attractive. And Greg is having a little cold feet as Heather wants to kind of commit. And he runs into an old flame not an old flame from high school, the opposite of that, someone who did not remember him from high school, but appraises him new now. And I got to say, my boy Greg, who we've talked about many times on the show, my imprinting on Greg like a Twilight werewolf. My boy Greg was killing me this week. He was absolutely my man. Maybe it's just because recently very unlucky in love, but my man is killing me here as he's like ducking out of relationships, and he meets the person from high school, is like, wow, you've changed, you're really like husband material. And Greg, you're killing me, my man.
I buy it 100% buy it from Greg though. And it's also such a classic comedy trope. It's never the one you think is going to be like the commitment phobe that they make the commitment phobe on these shows. Mm-hmm. Thinking of like Friends and Chandler being the one who is the commitment phobe, as opposed to like somebody else. But I 100% buy it. Particularly, he's not a man who is happy with his life. So like committing to somebody in the way his life is feels like probably in a way committing to just like this life. And Greg isn't 100% ready to do that. So
yeah, it's a big move, like putting down roots in this town that you are like desperate to leave, that you want so bad, that you tried to leave in a recent episode. Like you thought you were finally saying all goodbye, and then like, oh no, you're gonna put roots down in West Covina, Greg. That's gonna freak him out. I don't know if Heather wants to leave West Covina. She's never brought it up.
Also,
Heather's
she's so out of Greg's.
She's a student. She's chill. She's going to class, She's working on it now. She lives with her parents. It's chill. She's got a good situation going, I think.
Yeah, and that was another reversal here where it was like, and then here, Heather wants commitment. It's like, oh, we didn't expect that.
Surprising.
She doesn't like anything and doesn't seem like would want anything for longer than a few hours.
She has that kind of personality that I feel like it feels aloof. She's got that aloof personality, but then we have plenty of moments where we see that like she feels so much more than what she emotes.
Yeah, she feels deeply, and I feel like she is someone who you don't understand for a long time if they even like you, and then one day will be like, you're one of my best friends. And you're like, whoa, I didn't think you like felt anything about me at all. Like I thought I was net neutral in your book, but you care about me. It's so nice.
Kind of what happens here. Like
you love to get, one of my favorite ones to get is like, I hate everyone, but you're all right. And I'm like, oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Mine is usually like, I never tell anybody. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I don't tell anyone. And I'm like, it's actually the size of my pupils are really big. So it seems like I'm interested in what you're saying. And so you trust me and tell me things. I've had doctors tell me this.
Oh my God.
Kat, you got those listening eyes.
Like,
so susceptible to hypnosis. Those peepers let everything in. The thing waving back and forth. You're done in a second.
Absolutely.
Does anybody here ever? No, go ahead.
Done hypnosis? Yeah.
Done hypnosis? Weird. Yeah. It was weird. I faked my way through it at like senior night at my school because I just wanted attention, I think. I think that was the problem.
My high school psychology class, we used to do progressive relaxation every Friday, which is akin to like hypnosis, except like you're doing it to yourself. Like you're you're laying down, you're focusing on your body, and you're basically like putting yourself in a self-hypnotic state. And so we used to do that every Friday. It was really cool. It was like the best class or the best day of the week. I'm gonna be real. But actually having somebody do it to me, I haven't.
I have done it, and it was like that scene in Get Out with less murder.
No, that's
I
the
went
worst.
to
the sunken place.
I did. It was really, really freaky down there. Didn't love it. Apparently I healed something within me.
You didn't like the sunken place? It seems so cool.
It's not fun. I was a rock that was slowly sinking to the bottom of like an endless ocean or something, and it was just like
God.
not.
I don't like that.
It wasn't my favorite thing, but I think I cured something because I don't remember what I cured.
Hypnosis works. You heard it here first.
Yeah. One of my first thoughts whenever I was watching this episode was that Paula is such an enabler.
Paula.
This is the first time you've thought this?
No, no. It just really angers me because it's how we open up the episode.
Yes.
Like, it's not the first time at all. And this woman also probably needs to see a psychiatrist, like a therapist, to work 100%. Out some of her own stuff.
Definitely does. Also, definitely had like an alcoholic parent is my diagnosis. Like,
that's a good diagnosis. Confirmed later on the show.
Oh, okay.
so good job there.
I didn't mean to spoiler. Sorry.
No, I don't consider that a spoiler that her dad's an alcoholic. I think you're chill. I think you're good.
You were able to intuit it. So I mean, look.
Exactly. It's evident in the character even this early, several seasons before we will meet.
Yeah, I mean this type. It's typical with this kind of enabling and codependent person. I imagine also that Paula has watched everything available on Hulu and Netflix in the reality TV section.
100%.
Before befriending Rachel or Rebecca, like it feels like that's kind of where we're at. Is like we're out of Housewives seasons. We're out of like.
I must live the Real Housewives.
That's what I get, enjoying the drama, but like that is supposed to be drama you enjoy from afar, not sitting and forcing someone to tell you that they are in love with somebody. Paula.
It's really upsetting. And
we all know moms like this, don't we? Like, haven't we all?
100%. This is a very familiar type of person to me. That's what makes it so bad. Like, I know this person. Yeah. Type of mom. Oh, the type of mom who's like, it was supposed to make me sterile. Unfortunately, it didn't work. And those like, oh, I love a mom who hates her children. It makes me feel like I love a mom who guzzles wine and makes it her children's problem. It's really cool. And then those people are pro-life. I'm just like, I don't understand anyone's methodology anymore.
No.
Yeah. It's not working. Rebecca once again making a damn fool of herself in this episode, though. She and I, the worst part about it is
we're at camp.
I see myself in a lot of Rebecca Bunch. Unfortunately, I'm seeing myself in this, like trying so desperately for someone to like you. It's unfortunately hitting me in a very profound hard place.
Also feeling like there's enough like evidence and the world is like conspiring to have you with this person. You just have to do the next thing. Yeah. Like you just have to do this one more thing and then it'll all come together. Is like so painfully relatable. Never gone this far, but
is your crying faces as awkward as hers is in this episode?
What does it mean?
Oh my god.
Why is Yanni dancing? Like,
when she stands up in front of the girls that she's supposed to be giving this empowerment speech to, and just Rachel Bloom pulls the most comical cry face. Like,
I felt the most in distress when she was in the office trying to get to be a counselor. For some reason, that scene caused me so much cringe and pain. Was that whole moment
driving her way and trying to like squeeze herself in at the lunch table with these girls. It's killing me. These interactions that
Girls,
she's. I mean, it's so funny. It feels real in its own strange way. The girls, of course, featuring Machu Picchu from TV's Glow.
I was about to say she had that armbar down already. She
absolutely.
I felt like the girls. This was an example of it feels like teenagers written by 30-year-olds. Even I know that she's not 30 yet when she wrote this, but which is crazy. But it feels like adults trying to write dialogue for teens.
A little bit, which is why I never attempt it. You know what I mean? Like, I in my own script writing, I just avoid teens at all costs. I cannot approximate what they're saying. I don't know. I don't have TikTok. I cannot keep up with teens anymore, and I don't try to. So they don't exist in my cinematic world.
Kevin, your writing can never be as bad as one of the most popular video games writing of teenagers ever. So it's fine. It's fine.
Well, what is this? Who are we slagging? Who are we dragging?
I am shading Life is Strange season 1.
I thought that's who we were taking aim at. Those are some odd teens. those teens talk weird.
Kevin, what do you think about the Gossip Girl teens? Because you're
perfect, beautiful teens, the greatest teens of all time.
They're
because
fully 25-year-olds.
Fully 25.
Oh,
what makes the Gossip Girl teens work though is that they don't try to hit all the topical slang. Blair Waldorf exists exactly as she is in any period in the 20th century. You know what I mean? Like, she could have been she could be a flapper. She could have fucking been like the 50s with the hoop skirt. You know what I'm talking about?
Like, the swing dancer.
Yeah, the swing dancer girl. Like, she could have been any of those. That's what's beautiful about Blair Waldorf. She just happens to have like a flip phone, you know, because it was like the mid 2000s. But she could have existed at any point, which I think is what makes the Gossip Girl teens work. So I think honestly, that's just what you should do when writing teens. Is just like kind of make all purpose
older.
Yeah, right. I'm like they're 25-year-olds. Right, I'm like they're paid by Imaginely is my recommendation to you.
I'm writing teens right now, and now I'm second guessing everything I put on the page.
Write a teen like Michelle Trachtenberg, and also whatever slang you put in the script is going to be outdated by the time the script makes it to air. You know, like much less being watched years later. So I just avoid it. Just write some all-purpose teens.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's where, with what I said with like Life is Strange, what got me is just their use of slang that they use in it, right? And so now where with Kat, I definitely agree, is like the whole, I understand trying to be like, these are older, more mature teens, so that way they can try and help Rachel with her problem, or Rebecca with her problem. But also that does then come across very much, because they are trying to relate to an adult, it feels weird. It might have felt less weird if we were in a Gossip Girl situation where it was all them just talking to each other and there wasn't a 28-year-old or however old she's supposed to be in the beginning of the season trying to like literally sit with them. I know, awkward. But
Kevin, how do you feel that she's supposed to be our age? Because I can't separate. I started watching it very early 20s, and now watching it now, I'm trying to be like, wait, I'm her age, and so her issues and what she's thinking about are supposed to be what I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
like
her. It's a leap of logic one must make that someone who is Rachel Bloom's age, or at least Rebecca Bunch's approximate age, which is like late 20s, which that she was up for partner at her law firm in her late 20s, which we all know that like you don't make partner until you are a literal like draconian, like you're like a decrepit fucking mummy of a person, right? Like you just have to accept those leaps in logic that like she just is so advanced, has lived so much life in her 28 years, went through and completed law school, you know, like again, had a thriving legal career, which like the people that I know that are lawyers that are my age are like not even trying cases yet. Like you go through like periods of being a lawyer where you're not even a fucking lawyer yet. It's just you just gotta roll with it, and you can't.
think
Go ahead.
even like I was not even thinking of her background. I think of like relationally to how she like moves around this universe does not feel, I don't know. She does not feel late 20s to me, but she also is writing in her late 20s. So maybe she's just an old soul. I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, like a Blair Waldorf, she's a woman out of time, and she feels sort of no time and of no place. And she just sort of is unequivocally herself.
Well, and for me, I don't know, and it feels she has a little, and everybody in the show, it's part of a thing, feels almost a little emotionally stunted. So,
sure.
Yeah, like, and like, so it's funny because whenever I'm watching it, I'm like, most of her behaviors feel too young to me.
Yeah.
That I have to like where I'm like, where it doesn't read as like, sometimes her clothes reads as a woman who is older, but like her emotion, the way most of the people move through this world feels like they are being written 5 to 10 years younger than what I think they're supposed to be.
Yeah, she does have an excessively like girlish energy, and that's only exacerbated in her scenes with Paula, where like often it does feel like a mother and a young daughter conversing, more so than anything else. And then in this episode, of course, they dress her up like a tiny camp teen. Like they do really girl her up in a profound way.
It's kind of Kimmy Schmidt, and like it feels like a gap, like emotionally. But all of them, like Josh too, and Valencia. It seems like the people who grew up in West Covina didn't have to age far beyond high school emotionally, and so therefore, like,
time moves different in West Covina, like an anti-Narnia, a reverse Narnia.
Yeah, Brigadoon.
Yeah, and in some ways I get it with like the people who just stayed in their small hometown and never left, and so therefore continued their patterns. And you go back and you're like, okay, you don't feel that much different.
So nothing has changed.
Yeah. I just had that experience. I just had that experience last week where I went back to my hometown and I went to one fun dance bar, and I ran into, I kid you not, 12 people I knew separately. And some were from high school and some were from college. And the ones from college have been doing the same thing since college and have the same friends and are talking about the same things. And I'm like, I've transed a whole gender since I saw you. Like, this is wild. That like you're still so, and then I'm like, am I similar? And then I feel like I'm like, do they think I've changed at all? And then I start to like get in my head being like, have I changed?
While you were hanging out at bars, Cat transed a gender.
Downloading pirated films is stealing.
You wouldn't steal a car. You wouldn't trans a gender.
Happy Pride Month. It's August.
Happy Pride. It's August now, but still, Happy Pride Month.
Never ends.
It never ends. Pride forever. Perfect. Great. Beautiful.
Speaking of Pride, Daryl and White. Let's talk a little more. I don't have anything particular to say, but let's just like, oh,
this is just so nice. The scene with them like cleaning up, and talking, and I'm like, this is just so nice. This is so easy for them. You know what I mean? That's just like
that felt late 20s. That felt, I don't know, maybe that was just like the queer dynamic in me. That there's like a daddy, and then there's sort of like a younger, like Jim type. But that felt lived into me. That felt, I was like, I know this.
I know this couple. I've seen this before.
And Daryl has that moment of like whenever White Josh kisses him on the cheek, and it's like he felt something, right? Like, and then, but it's clearly, and it seems to be a surprise to him. He seems to be having a later in life bisexual awakening, because he seems surprised by it, at least in that moment. And it didn't feel like the kiss. It felt like he was surprised by like how he felt about the kiss on the cheek. And I was like,
So
Yeah,
precious.
it was very much the reaction, the shot of the reaction. Also, like, why do we think White Josh likes Daryl? I'm curious. I'm saying
No,
this with a smile, not with shade.
as someone
I
who is
want to know.
approximately White Josh's age, I get it. Like Daryl, yeah, like I think he's cute. He's like a cute man, you know, his little mustache, and like
As
especially when
long as
he's
you
like,
never heard his song about his daughter, you would think.
yeah,
he
as
was-
long as you never heard his song about his daughter. They should lock that song away in a fucking vault somewhere. But as long as you never hear the song about the daughter, like I like his shirt, you know, like his outfit at the party. I think he's looking cute. He's looking fresh. He's had like a fresh haircut, you know, the mustache is looking trim. I get it. I'd give him a little kiss on the cheek.
If you're like
So
a
West
hot,
Covina
like
is a
gym
small
rat,
town, so like
that's true.
Pickens is slim. Yeah, small town of like
I get that.
100,000 people. I always love when they show they always pretend it's some Podunkburg and then they're like population 100,000.
like that's not, which isn't like that small, but also, you know, depending on how big the community that is, he knows there, right? Like it's like, okay, well, you know, if
you probably
he,
dated every other gay man in West Covina up until now, you know?
True. He's been on
every
Grindr and
other,
he's like finally new. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have
like
not
I
seen this
sense the
much fun.
vibe. I
Okay,
sense the
let's
vibe across this
try
pate.
shoot your shot with the pate. If I met a cute Daryl looking man who made a mean pate, I'd give him a little kiss on the cheek right now. Right now, if he were here. I think I like it.
Test, right? It's a nice little test. The kiss on the cheek is just a nice little like. It doesn't have to mean anything.
Okay, hey, you know, I kiss a lot of bros on the cheek, but also I don't. You know,
Yeah.
what does it mean?
Who do you think Josh would be into if they were also queer between Josh Chan and and Greg? Who do you think White Josh would go for? Or
That's a good.
would he
I think
still
Josh
go for
Chang.
Daryl? Or would he still go for Daryl?
I think he'd still go for
Three of them.
Daryl. I think
Fuck, Mary,
so.
If
kill.
all three are on the table, I think he'd still go for Daryl.
I think he'd still go for
So
Daryl.
cute. That's so cute.
It's
I
cute.
love that.
Maybe it's just because, you know, I watched all this show in March when I had COVID, but like I know that White Josh does not always get along with his friends. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like you've had a queer friend for like too long for it to turn into a relationship. Do you know what I mean? Like you're like,
Yeah.
oh, we've been through too much. I know too much about you to like
It's
start
too
dating you
annoying.
now.
There's been too many annoying questions. Yeah,
It's
totally.
sorry, it's not. We've maybe there was a bridge at some point, but we blew past it long ago.
Totally. Kevin, who would you fuck, marry, kill of those three?
Fuck, marry, kill of Daryl, Greg, Josh.
Yep.
Marry Daryl.
Oh.
I do have to listen to my heart. I do have to fuck that handsome paisano, Greg Serrano, which means, unfortunately, I do have to kill Joshua Felix Chan.
Yeah.
I agree with that assessment, Kevin. I agree with it.
Okay, thank you. So a common thing we like to ask guests on this show, is Greg hot? Greg's hot, right? I'm not even talking about Santino Fontana. I'm talking about Greg Serrano.
Okay, look, it's so weird because I like love Santino Fontana and like my musical theater nerdness and like it's just so much. And he has such a good voice.
Beautiful voice.
If I'm physically looking him up and down, and I would probably say like I wouldn't use the word hot. Like he's not unattractive. Like, I wouldn't use the word hot. However, there's something about Josh's personality, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, like, but it's just something about his like curmudgeon personality is fucking hot, and I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he's a little bit of a bad boy. You know, he's a little bit.
He's got, like, enough of a chip on his shoulder that there's something.
That's what I was about to say.
He's like
legally blonde chip on your shoulder vibes. Yeah.
Chip on your shoulder. He's that. I love an acerbic bartender. I love a Sam Malone. I love a Nick Miller. You know, like it's an archetype I cannot fucking resist. I'm looking for ways to fucking make a fool of myself in front of like a handsome acerbic bartender.
He's witty. He's like he's got the banter. He's got the
ticks a lot of my boxes. Greg Serrano.
Yeah, like. Sure, you want to take me home from the bar one night? Okay.
Yeah, sounds great. Last call.
Great.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I think I would let him tell me about Pulp Fiction, at least.
Wow. That's big. That's
and
a
I don't
hot
say
fan.
that about a lot of men. Yeah,
That's
I don't say that about a lot of men. But I think I would listen to him talk about Pulp Fiction.
That's about as high as compliment as Greg Serrano is ever liable to get on this show. God damn. Hell yeah. Rock on. Yeah, this is a fun little episode for our friend Greg. I'm glad we finally weighed in on that particular debate. But let's talk a little. Yeah, I don't know. This is I do like Joshua Felix Chan. It's a fun little song. Having a few people over just kind of happens to you and then it's over. Put Yourself First is really the standout. I think the standout musical number of both of these episodes. I think this song is fun. I think it is, the video that they put together is fun. There's some fun jokes. I like it. I think it's a standout ditty.
I agree. It was probably my favorite. And honestly, in episode 9, I didn't love any of the songs.
Mm-hmm.
We had a couple of reprises, and then Valencia's song is like the only.
Yeah, I guess they wrote that like the stripper song when she's pole dancing that like, we can't license cherry pie, so we have to write our own cherry pie.
Yeah.
It was,
but all three of these songs just outsold the episodes before, like just hands down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hands down.
100%. But it's kind of, these last couple episodes have not been my favorite in terms of the music on the show, but we're about to hit some bangers next week. We're about to hit some of the all-time Crazy Ex-Girlfriend fucking hits package next week. Very exciting stuff. Now we do sometimes end this show with ranking musical numbers. Honestly, Kat, I think we should just phase out that element of our show. We haven't talked about this, but like, I'm not feeling it. I just don't want to rank songs anymore. I guess.
Okay. All right.
All right, it's canceled. Great.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. ranking section.
I'll learn this independently, I suppose.
Listen, you'll make a list. I want to hear your list. Or maybe at the end of a season, we'll do our like top 5 songs of the season, and we'll do our bottom song of the season. Bottom song of the season. Daryl's song about his daughter. An unmovable rock in this harbor. Yeah. So we'll do a fun little recap. We'll do a mid-month recap, and we'll list our top 5s. Great executive decision. We did it. Perfect. So I think that about does it, unless anybody has any other big topics that they want to bring to the floor.
That just was a whole void that just took it, that like vacuumed the whole segment out. What do we replace it with? Do you have something fun? I think Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Okay, we're gonna do a weekly Fuck, Marry, Kill. That's our new fun game. Great. So we did. We're gonna have to get creative with it because we did just do Daryl, Greg, Josh, 3 of the main characters on the show. I think we're gonna have to get really creative with it. Perfect. Okay, yeah, that's fun. We'll do replacing ranking. We do a Fuck, Marry, Kill, which is a ranking of its own, which is a ranking sort of unto itself. Perfect. So we already talked about some of our plugs earlier in the show, but now is the time. Jillian, where can the people hear you and follow you?
So they can hear me on Welcome to Greendale. It is a episode by episode going through the podcast, it is an episode by episode going through Community, where me and my husband, who are longtime fans, take our friend Sadia, who had never seen or knew anything about the show before, through an episode at a time. And you can follow that show on Twitter at Go Greendale, or on Instagram at Welcome to Greendale Podcast. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Holy City Fangirl.
Amazing. Kat?
Hello. What's up, you guys? Welcome to my channel. I use they, them pronouns, and I am on Instagram.com. I'm there, and the handle for the real one is Cat Scott Online, and the one for my new secret, not so secret meme account that has 117 followers right now is Squirrely Fairy 69, spelled SQUIRLY, Fairy FAIRY 69. That's Squirrely Fairy 69. XOXO Gossip Squirrel. It's just It's the association put to images. I might regret saying this. Sometimes I do open mics at Easy Lover on Tuesday nights as the queer open mic night. I have performed stand-up 3 times, so now I guess I'm self-identifying.
So, as a stand-up comedy. My pronouns are stand and up.
Ew. And now that it's August, I hope you're all wearing sunblock, and blessed be.
Blessed be. Kat, by the time this episode drops, you'll be back from Europe. You'll be back from Kat Scott's European vacation.
And I had the most romantic time, let me just say.
At the European vacation you're about to take.
Let me just say, hopefully I didn't die there, and this isn't like a post-mortem episode. Hopefully I had a really great time.
Can you imagine if this is your legacy? If this is your post-mortem release?
You would have to put it out.
I have to
legally binding.
I have to put it out. It's like you and I were talking about on the phone the other day, where it's like we can't do anything shameful because we promised each other a legacy that we would write the worst poetry of all time. Anti-suicide pact. Because if you do anything, I will write the worst poetry you've ever heard, and I will publish it about you.
I will do it at your eulogy, and I will say, and anytime anybody asks about you, I will recite the terrible poetry I've written about you.
Again, the fucking end of all that jazz, but instead of 3 songs, the most important women in your life are reading the worst poetry you've ever heard.
Exactly. So hopefully I didn't die in Europe, and hopefully I am resting, and I hope you all are enjoying this beautiful, warm season.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you for the blessing, for the Augie Doggy blessing. I'm TV's Kevin Lanigan on all the stuff, but you already know that. You can get your monthly episode of Crazy X Pod Friends 1 week early over at patreon.com/tvskevin for as little as $1 a month. You also get a bunch of bonus pods that ain't available anywhere else. So dive behind that paywall, scale the paywall for as little as $1 a month. Drink deep of that cask of Amontillado that is behind the paywall. That's great. And of course, you already know Advanced Media Studies is my regular podcast. We are reading The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books right now. And by the time this episode is out, I will have appeared on an episode of The Lonely Boys talking about Gossip Girl, which I do all the time now. So EXO.
I'm jealous. I want to talk
you
about
love me. XOXO. The Lonely Boys would love to have you. I can hook you up with the Lonely Boys if you want to talk about Gossip Girl.
Look, talking about OG Gossip Girl, new Gossip Girl, I've got it covered.
I've offered the same. I'm here too. We can do this all.
Great. I can get you both hooked up with the Lonely Boys. I know those boys. Okay, so we can XOXO.
They don't have a lot going on. They're pretty lonely.
Yeah. So they live in their palatial Water Street, Brooklyn loft, and they're like, "Oh, I'm in poverty. My dad is a former rock star." Great show. I love Gossip Girl. Great fucking show. We'll be back next month, early September, to talk about really the show is about to take off. I think the show is about to fucking hit the stratosphere. They're about to fucking gun on the gas as we're gonna bring 2 true bangers to the table. Again, one of them I watched for the first time on my friend Kat Scott's couch, and I was freaking out the entire time. It was so stressful. It's gonna be great. Who doesn't love a little stressful musical comedy? But until then, I forget if we have a sign off for this podcast. But until then, put yourself first in a sexy way. Wear fake eyelids just for yourself.
Women gotta stick together each and every day. Women gotta stick together in each and every way. Females helping females for the greater good. Sisters helping sisters size up. Some girls are born tall and thin, and some are short and fat. This girl smells like sausages, but there's nothing wrong with that. Women gotta stick together all across this land, except Denise Martinez, that bitch I cannot stand. Oh, hey, Denise.
Hey, girl.
Females helping females, like this girl here with the blotchy face. She banged her best friend's boyfriend in the bathroom of that half-price sushi place.
What?
Oh, you didn't know? So let's all spread this message, like Caitlyn spreads disease. 'Cause a change is coming faster than Ashley drops to her knees. Together we can clear these hurdles, except Marissa 'cause she's 4'8". We can climb every mountain if the rope can support Haley's weight. Women gotta stick together, do everything we can. So if some weird troll named Rebecca moves here from New York and is all up on my boyfriend, I'm gonna lend her a helping hand. Women gotta stick together and tell each other the truth. The truth is you're all fat sluts, and that's called sisterhood.